Hope you like the new 3-word reviews down here in a United flag. How cool is that? So if you've fired in a 3-word review over social media this weekend, hopefully it's under here for you. So thank you for joining us. We're going to get stuck into this weekend's match. 2 4-0 wins on the bounce from Manchester United. We sit comfortably at the top of the league ahead of Titans like Watford and West Brom. However, as Jose Mourinho said in his press conference, which we've got coming up for you, 2 wins doesn't put you in paradise, just as 2 losses isn't too much to get over at the start of a season. We can be happy. People are telling us not to get carried away. Well, do you know what? We're not getting carried away. Can we be happy that Manchester United have been playing good football and scoring some good goals, though? We've also got coming up in the fan cam compilation, we've got Billy Ead who asks a question. When was the last time Manchester United scored 4 goals back-to-back? And let me know in the comments if you guys know. So, I thought Manchester United at the weekend struggled for about the first 65, 70 minutes or so. And my personal belief is that was because of the 4-2-3-1 formation lining up against Swansea's 3-5-2. I thought Paul Pogba, exactly the same as we saw against West Ham, was restricted. He was too far back in the game, and this is why I really desperately want to see him in a midfield 3. I thought Juan Mata was a little bit anonymous in this game, and I thought if we'd have played a three-man midfield with Herrera alongside Pogba, we could have seen Pogba heading into that final third with the ball a little bit more. He's not a number 10, he's a number 8. He's attacking number 8, and that's what I like about him. Now, Swansea switched it up and they went for it. At 1-0, they thought, we can get a goal and we can get ourselves into this game. So they went for it. And fair play to them for doing that, because some teams just take the 1-0 and just think, all right, we've lost. But fair play to Clement and Swansea. They went for it at 1-0. When they went for it, they switched it up to a 4-4-2. That coincided with us bringing Fellaini on, which pushed Paul Pogba further up. Paul Pogba further up started off a counter-attack, which ultimately came to nothing. It was one that went to Lukaku, and Lukaku ended up getting tackled in the box. But that should have been a warning sign for Swansea, and it wasn't a warning sign for Swansea. What happened next was we scored with a Mkhitaryan assist for Paul Pogba, for Lukaku, and then we went on a rampage of about 2.5, 3 minutes, something along those lines, where we scored 3 goals, and Paul Pogba was at the heart of most of those. The quick counter-attacking football, when Paul Pogba was freed up and allowed to play that further forward position, running with the ball at his feet. He's got the vision, he's got the intelligence to pick the right sort of pass, and he can go any way with it. And he pulled off 2 great passes, which saw us finish the game off in unbelievable, ruthless display, show of force from Manchester United. It was a joy to watch. The final goal in particular, you saw Lukaku coming deep, dragging a defender with him, holding the ball up. It might have been a miscontrol, it might have been a pass, but he lets it go free. Anthony Martial picks it up, he drives it forward into the opposition half. Paul Pogba then takes it, he's got a 3v2 on the go. He gives it back to Anthony Martial, who slots it home with an unbelievable finish. Absolute dead-eye striking. And his goals-to-game ratio, or goals-to-minutes ratio, is absolutely off the charts this season, Anthony Martial. And quite rightly, a lot of Reds are asking for Anthony Martial to start some matches for us. But I'm just going to put this here. This isn't my opinion. This is me just playing devil's advocate a little bit. Maybe we're using Rashford to run a defence ragged a little bit and then bringing Tony Martial on to finish them off later in the game, because we've done it twice now and that is exactly what has happened. Are we using Rashford's tenacity, determination, tempo? Are we using that to really tire a defence out before we bring... Have we got a tactic for late on in the game? Does Rashford run himself into the ground and free that up for Anthony Martial to come on late in the game? Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is that something that we're doing, or would you just like to see Anthony Martial from the start? Because you can't deny that there is a completely different tempo to the 2 players. And is Rashford softening up of that defence something that we should be keeping using? Do you want to see Ander Herrera back in the starting 11? All of that sort of stuff. Throw it in the comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I'm going to see what some of you guys are saying just now. 110 years ago, says Crazy Guy, 1907/08. Do you remember that? Was you at that match? The league is ours, says Ulrich. I'm going to say that's a little bit giddy at the moment. You can't win a league in August. You can only lose a league in August. But you've got to be there or thereabouts, and you can, of course, be happy with the football that we're playing. And I am delighted with the football that we are playing. Has anyone noticed their own comment in this yet? Let the horses run, says Pigeon55. Marshall to start, says Nimral. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Steve says, spot on with Rashford starting and Marshall coming off the bench. Could defo do with Herrera at start over Mata this weekend. I think Leicester's going to be a different proposition for us altogether. Been sticking with 4-4-2 Leicester a little bit as well. So I think that we could see what we saw towards the end of the game this weekend. And 4-3-3 up against 4-4-2. I fancy our chances in that. Tony Marshall should start. Hale, Pogba. Thoughts on City? City play Everton this evening. It's going to be a cracker of a game. I think Everton look fantastic this season, so it's interesting to see. They still need a striker, though. They've not replaced Lukaku. Rooney's playing in a withdrawn number 10 sort of position. They really need a number 9 that's going to lead the line for him, I think. Herrera to start, says Oliver. A perfect start, says Peter. I wouldn't start Blind. I didn't see the name on that one. Now, this is the concern that I do have in the squad at the moment. That left-hand side, Luke Shaw, it's all set for him to come back and take it and make it his own. If he can do that, he will be playing in the under-23s this evening, so if you get the opportunity, check that out. Let's see how Luke Shaw's doing. It's probably going to take him 4 or 5 games to get anywhere close to match fitness, but it's interesting that Jose is finally starting to use the under-23s, just like we said on Tomorrow's Transfers Today last week. Maybe he watches. I don't know. Jose, you're a subscriber? Get your comment in below. Lingard for Mata this weekend, says Manchester is red. That's not a bad shout. I think that could happen. Hope Rooney scores tonight, says Nigel. Rooney does love scoring against Manchester City, doesn't he? But not often for Everton. We've not seen that much, have we? It's obviously been at United most of the time. So maybe we will see that. Right. Let's go to Jose Mourinho. Let's see what the main man himself has to say after United's back-to-back 4-0 victory this weekend.
Last 10 minutes is because the opponent is losing and is trying to get the goal. The reality of the game was 75 minutes 1-0 and 75 minutes the result open. Okay, I always felt on the bench the game under control. I always felt the team very confident to have the ball. I always felt the team winning 1-0 and not defending the result and trying to play to control the game and to score more. But the game was open. You know, we had a good preseason. We worked well. We are ready to play in different systems. When we saw them with 5 in the back, we thought, let's try to explore the advantage of play with 3 up, but we were ready at any moment. If we were in difficulty, we were ready at any moment to change and to play also us with 3 in the back. So we are confident with the work we had. We had a wonderful Los Angeles period. I think the team is confident. The team is confident, and in both matches, winning 1-0 at half time, we didn't start the second half like looking. We have to keep a clean sheet to win the match. We always look like let's at least control the game by having the ball and try to score more goals. And we did that in both matches. And then players on the bench, great quality, you know, easy for me to make decisions, easy for me to make changes, and good players, they make managers look even better, and I really thank their fantastic attitude, all of them, even the ones that were not selected, because we know that we need a squad to do something good this season. We need a squad. Yeah, is Gilf, is Fernando, because Fernando injured is also an important player for them, gives them other kind of solutions, give them a different threat. I can imagine Fernando playing together with the kid Tammy, Jordan, so Paul is going to have more solutions, and you know, I hope that the 45 million are to spend. So did a good work last season, and 1 point after 2 matches, one of them against one of the top 7 teams or 6 teams is not a drama. So keep going and work hard.
Did you fear that Paul Pogba might see a second yellow card?
No, because I don't even think that the first yellow card is so deserved. I think the first yellow card, the yellow card, is a little bit out of context, because I thought that Jonathan was having a certain kind of criteria that wouldn't bring a easy yellow card, because there were actions, especially one on Matic, that is a yellow card, and he decided to speak with the players and go in that direction. So I thought with Paul he would go to do the same. So when the yellow card came, I was a bit surprised. But then Paul, what he wants is to enjoy, is to play football, is to do good things. He always tries, even sometimes more difficult things than he should, because he enjoys to show his quality, he enjoys to play. So no, I didn't fear a second yellow card. You know, the team, the word that describes better the team now is confidence. The team is confident. The team starts the game confident. The team starts the second half confident. The thing that I want to see, but I don't want to see. But if it happens, I want to see the team losing and see the way we emotionally react to it, because it's also another stage. Be losing and try to change the result, because in this moment everything is going in our favor. But you know, it's not always motorway. You always find difficult roads and roadworks, and we have to be ready. It's not a lesson, it's the reality of football. Two matches are not the end of the world for people that lose, and it's not paradise for people that win. So, you know, I'm happy, of course, and the quality of the performances gives me even more confidence.
And we are back. Cheers, Jose. Right, some of the things that Jose mentioned in the press conference was we can play different systems. He mentioned that in reference to the 3-5-2 that Swansea lined up against us. And he said he also felt that we could go with what we had up front, which I think is quite interesting, because I thought we looked fairly poor and fairly restricted with how deep Swansea sat back in that 3-5-2. And I think that's a blueprint that other clubs are going to use against us, because we was able to be kept quiet. We was winning 1-0 until they switched it, but we was winning from a corner, nothing really to do with the formation. So I think there's a bit of a blueprint there that I definitely think other clubs are going to try and utilise, and especially with the three at the back thing, because this weekend, Spurs, Chelsea, Swansea, Palace, Stoke and Arsenal all lined up with three at the back. Considering it's, you know, kind of niche at the moment for people to be playing three at the back, that's a lot of teams. And we've still got City and Everton, who both looking like they could line up in a 3-5-2. So we could have another couple of teams lining up to this weekend in 3-5-2. And that makes it about half of the league that have lined up in 3-5-2. So I definitely think United need another option for how we break down a team that's playing three at the back, because I didn't think we did that effectively until they switched it to 4-4-2 and we moved Paul Pogba a little bit further forward. So that's something I definitely think Jose's got to work on. He mentioned confidence. He had a real emphasis on confidence in the press conference, and he also mentioned how he wants to see us react to a defeat. And I think that's interesting. Now, some people are going to say Jose said he wanted us to lose. He wasn't. He checked himself. He was like, no, when you're winning, obviously it's easy and the confidence is high. We've got confidence going into games. We've got confidence in the second half of games. We're confident of everything that we can do. But sometimes that confidence can be fragile, and one loss could knock us right out of that. So I think he's right. We are going to lose at some point this season. How do we react to that? That's interesting to find out. 2 matches. Not the end of the world, not paradise. That's a quote from Mourinho. That's saying don't get carried away either way with whatever happens. But like I said, it's nice to be playing such good football, isn't it? I'm going to come check out a couple of what you guys are saying in the comments. People talking about Ibra and his new contract. I think that's very soon, if not happened already. Pereira is going to Valencia on loan. I saw that this weekend. I haven't seen anything official about that, so I hope not. Another 4-0 win this weekend, says Daryl. What happens if we win another 4-0 this weekend? Well, obviously we go 9 points on the top of the table, I would assume, but does that mean we can get excited? How many 4-0 consecutive wins before we get excited? And how many 1-0 wins for West Brom before they get excited? Imagine we go invincible this season. Shays, now this is an Arsenal thing, isn't it? So you got to think the winning of the league is the achievement. Going unbeaten isn't the achievement. Now, they didn't score as many points as Chelsea scored in the season after. And, they lost more than Manchester United did when we won the treble that season. We come with 3 trophies. It's not about going undefeated. It's about winning stuff. It's about winning stuff with maximum efficiency. And they drew a lot that season, so I'm not mega impressed. Even if we didn't win the league, I think we will have a good season, says Bash. I think we are not stretching the opponent. Sorry, missed that one. Went off too fast. 4-2-3-1 seems to work very well. What about Herrera? I disagree, Adams. I think that 4-2-3-1 isn't working very well. We're scoring goals, but I think we're limiting ourselves and we're limiting Paul Pogba by having him play on that defensive midfielder line. Against West Ham, his average touch was exactly the same as Matic. It was a little bit different against Swansea, but that was because he essentially moved to the right wing after we made the Fellaini substitution. So I definitely think we're not getting the best out of Paul Pogba just yet. Despite the fact that we've won 4-0 twice, we're still not quite getting the best out of Paul Pogba. Phil Jones needs credit. Yes, Baye and Phil Jones need a little bit of credit, and we've got Statman Dave coming with you in a second who's talking about those exactly. Spaceman says, calm down, Leicester are decent. Who says Leicester aren't decent? But we battered them last season, didn't we? Was it 4-1 and 3-1 against Leicester last season? Something like that. So, I feel confident going into this weekend. Let's see what Dave's got to say in his 3-point review.
3-point review time once again. First up, I think we've got to talk about Manchester United's defence, because that arguably could win United the title. Eric Bailly and Phil Jones have both started in great form this season. Against Swansea City, both were absolutely fantastic. Swansea set up with a two-man strike force, a 3-5-2, that we may see out of Manchester United at some point this season. That meant that both Phil Jones and Eric Bailly had a direct opponent. The sort of game plan for Swansea was trying to attack the channels, the space behind the Manchester United fullbacks. So both centre-backs had to have that ability to cover the flanks, the space in behind their teammates, and, do a good job there. Eric Bailly did that fantastically, consistently in that first half, shuttling across to the right wing and just cutting out balls, to the Swansea strikers. But I'd also say Phil Jones was absolutely fantastic. What Phil Jones has sort of become this season is a calm defender. A defender that's more, willing to sit back, hold his position and make a timely interception at the right time, which is pretty incredible considering, his style of football used to be very aggressive, going to the ball, but now he's looking like a little bit more of a calm defender. Arguably, it looks like this off-season has made him a little bit more mature. Phil Jones, for me, was my man of the match. Won 100% of his tackles, 67% of his aerial duels, and a whopping 10 clearances. Eric Bailly grabbed the goal, Phil Jones hit the bar. Great display from the two centre-halves. But in terms of the game, it was 1-0 up until, around 80 minutes, and that defence really sort of forced Swansea to make an attacking change, which consequently opened up them for the counter-attack. Paul Pogba driving through the middle. If Mourinho can use Pogba in this way, where he's using him as a counter-attacking number 10 when United have got a lead, United, will destroy teams on the break this season. You're thinking Pogba so good at carrying the ball, so athletic, so powerful, the perfect counter-attacking player. 3 of the goals that United scored in the last 10 minutes of the game all came from Paul Pogba driving runs from midfield. He assisted one, he scored another, and it was just that perfect play from Paul Pogba. A powerful Paul Pogba, a Paul Pogba that we all want to see. In the first half, he had a bit of a poor half, nearly got sent off. Couldn't really get his head in the game. The tempo that he usually creates wasn't there at all. But in that second half, especially when the game opened up on the counter-attack, Paul Pogba was fantastic. Talking about other players that have been great on the break this season, Henrik Mkhitaryan. Back in the days at Borussia Dortmund, he pretty much formed a lethal partnership with Marco Reus and Aubameyang. Pacey, powerful, quick. And that's what he's sort of doing with this Man United team. You're thinking he's grabbed 2 assists in the first game and 2 assists in the second game. Mkhitaryan didn't have the greatest game with the ball at his feet, kept it quite simple in the final third, completed more final third passes than any other player on the pitch. But when the opportunity arose, the time where he could slide the through ball, of course to Lukaku first and then Anthony Martial, he just picked his pass. Mkhitaryan in the game against Swansea played 3 passes into the Swansea box, 2 which were assists. But anyway, Mkhitaryan, Pogba, Eric Bailly, Phil Jones, all great performances, but United, top of the league. Anyway, back to you, Elson.
Cheers for that, Dave. Make sure you go and give Dave a subscribe on his channel, Statman Dave, over on YouTube. Definitely worth checking out for some more in-depth reviews like that on Manchester United. So head over there as soon as you finish this video and check that out. So some of the things that Dave covered there. So you've got, I've just moved it, Bailly covering the right wing. Yeah, I thought he did that excellently. I thought him and Phil Jones was both fantastic. I'm not sure about Phil Jones being man of the match, though. I'm going to have to give it Mkhitaryan, I think, for my man of the match. I don't think Phil Jones. I've got to disagree with Dave on that one. But the big point about that you mentioned there about Pogba, you've got to play him in the number 10. In a number 10, I think Paul Pogba too often would have his back to goal, and I don't think you get the best out of Paul Pogba for there. As I said earlier on, I think you've got to play him in a three-man midfield and have him as the attacking number 8 alongside someone like Herrera who can do both jobs, box to box, and then you can have Matic in behind doing just the complete sweeping up job. I think that he's correct in the assertion that Paul Pogba is going to be the man that does all of the playmaking for Manchester United and is someone that the ball needs to go through. I think he's got Scholes-like level of vision, and I think he's maturing into an absolutely brilliant midfielder that makes the right sort of decisions. And this season, the critics was talking about the lack of goals, I can't hear them anymore. Can you guys hear them anymore? The Paul Pogba critics have properly shut up, haven't they? CC at Matt Letitia. Dave says Dave is the man. Well, not that Dave, but there you go. Bailly clearly man of the match, says Mo Wada. I'm not sure I would say clearly. I thought he had an excellent performance. Daniel says that we need to remember that for 70 minutes it felt like we could have drawn. Again, 4 minutes made it look better than it was. I think there is a little bit of an element in that, but the difference is the thing that we saw with Manchester United was that clinical ability. We had 3 shots and we scored 3 goals in that 3-minute period. That is the level of clinical finishing. And some people are also mentioning that we should be beating teams like this. Yes, we should, right? However, last season, these was the games that we cocked up against. These teams at home was the teams that we did draw against. These teams are the ones that we drop points against despite dominating the game. What we're doing this time is we are dominating the game and then we're putting the ball in the back of the net and we're dominating the scoreline as well. Now, you've got to be able to be happy about that. No one is sitting here saying that United are going to win everything. Nobody's saying that. In fact, everyone's actually going probably more the other way and just trying to protect themselves from this little false dawn. Yes, we had a fantastic start to the season last season, but I think we're scoring more goals, looking more clinical, looking more complete this season than we did last season. Obviously, before it all came crashing down when we played Manchester City and was unfortunate to lose at home. Rostan says 15, that's how many Pogba's going to score this season. I think that'd be absolutely fantastic from Paul Pogba. Gaz says we need Shaw back. Blind doesn't get forward enough and our front guys need our fullbacks to give width. Yes, I thought we was extremely narrow against Swansea. They didn't try enough crosses. They didn't really want to cross the halfway line and get involved. There was a complete lack of relationship with Rashford and Blind on that left-hand side. And I think that contributed to both of them having, pretty average games. Valencia made it into the BBC Team of the Week, and I thought he was good defensively, but I think going forward, he didn't offer enough. And that has got to be instructions because we often see United's fullbacks getting into that final third. So maybe we was looking to prevent the counter a little bit and keeping an eye on what Swansea could do. But Swansea defended really deep, and I thought one of the ways that we could have broke them down was by putting high balls into the box for Lukaku to get on the end of, because you can double mark him, he still wins that header, doesn't he? And we just didn't cross it enough for me at weekend. Aslam says this is a lesson for Premier League clubs because Chelsea is not going to win. What's a lesson? You have to explain that one, I think. Rick says we have a 56% conversion rate instead of a 12% conversion rate. Exactly. Now there you go. So how many goals would we have scored on last year's conversion rate? 1? Would it have been 1? No, it would have been 2. Probably 2 goals instead of 8. So if Rooney plays good this season, why? What? Give better questions, man. What do we make of the Chamberlain rumours? I think he represented some of the qualities of Perisic and could be a good squad player. I disagree. I think he's very Jesse Lingard-ish, and we've already got Jesse Lingard. Why do we need to bring in another Jesse Lingard? He's not the sort of guy that crosses. He is a sort of more central playmaker for me. He's definitely not the sort of person who crosses to the same level of Perisic, which is the reason Perisic was being linked. So I'm going to have to say no, I think, at this time. Shaw will solve the issue, says Marzu. Yeah, I think there's a lot being laid on with Luke Shaw, and I'm really interested to see how he gets along this evening in the under-23s at Lee. So yeah, I definitely think Luke Shaw, people are waiting on him, and I think Jose might be one of those that are waiting on him. I think Jose's going to put a little bit of confidence into Luke Shaw because he hasn't signed the left back, despite the fact that we've probably clearly been looking. Danny Rose heavily linked, amongst others. What if Zlatan comes back? I hope Zlatan doesn't come back and get immediately put into the first team, because if he does, I can see him messing the rhythm up of this team, which we've built at the moment. However, I can see Zlatan coming in around Christmas and being used as part of the League Cup squad to rotate out Lukaku to give him a rest. Lukaku's never had a season where he's going to play the level of the number of games that we're going to be playing. Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup, late stages, all that. Everton don't usually get that. They don't usually get Europe. Lukaku's not got the experience of playing in that many games in a season. So I think this would be the way that you utilise Zlatan. You bring him in to give Lukaku a rest for a bigger game on the horizon. I think if we do that, we mix them in, or you bring Zlatan in for 20 minutes at the end of a game just so Lukaku doesn't push the boundaries too much. I think that's an excellent way to utilise two really good forwards who will score us goals. And I think Lukaku's well on his way to getting 30 goals this season. 3 in the bag already in 2 games. I can't wait to see how many he ends up with. What time is the game tonight? I think it's 7 o'clock. Didn't watch us against Arsenal at OT last season. Chamberlain set up Giroud with a cross. Okay, one cross doesn't mean that they constantly cross the ball. You know, Lingard threw 22 crosses in compared to Perisic's 225 crosses last season. Doesn't mean that he crosses to the same level as Perisic. Listen to what I'm saying. Please no more signings. Everyone looks up for the task, says Peter. I think we still got a little bit of something on this left-hand side. Sarafaz, Mourinho wants to lose a game. Why did he say that? I literally just said, as we spoke about that clip, he didn't say that. He didn't say, I want to lose a game. He said, I want to see how this team reacts to losing a game. That's different to saying, I want us to lose a game. Don't listen to the headlines in the newspapers, because that's clearly what they've clipped up to make it look like. Luke says it'd be great to have Zlatan back, but only as an option. Lukaku has to be first choice. I agree on that 100%. If Zlatan comes in, he should be back up to Lukaku, but both target men, then Rashford and Martial can rotate too. I agree on that one, Jake. Yeah, good point. 4-2-3-1, attacking at home and smaller teams. 4-3-3, defensive. You can't just say the formation. It depends on the players and how those players interpret it. I think Lukaku at home, I think Pogba at home doesn't need to be played in that same line as Matic was. I think that's too deep. He doesn't get on the ball in the right areas enough for me. Zlatan's experience is invaluable. I think Zlatan really wants that Premier League winners medal, doesn't he? We need to use the squad, says Tinkiao. Martial, Lingard and Herrera need to play. Mourinho said it last week, actually, in his press conference. He said, at the moment, it's hard to rotate because there's only one game a season, but that changes as the Champions League draw is this week, I believe, and we are pretty soon into the Champions League's fixtures, so it's going to start getting messy real quickly. Right, let's go and see what all the lads had to say in the fan cams, and there's some absolute crackers. Here's a bit of a compilation of the fan cams from this weekend.
When was the last back-to-back 4-0 win?
When was it?
For the kicker who can answer it, I can't remember it.
4 goals, clean sheet, as you said. That's 8 goals in 2 games, none conceded.
Say it again.
That's 8 goals in 2 games, none conceded.
I think it's clicked on the jaw.
Well, listen, it's when you got a spine like that, it's just awesome, mate. Yeah. We've wanted it, haven't we? We've lost it since Fergie. We've not had it since Fergie.
Everyone's singing Romelu.
He's number 9, Romelu Lukaku.
Everyone's singing about Romelu Lukaku. 4 goals in 3 games.
Man United's number 9, Romelu Lukaku.
This is what we want to see, innit? This
Start of something.
We're back, mate. So listen, when you get it, whoever gets it, right? My name's Billy Mack. I'll give a tenner to any kid. I'll give any kid who'll answer it, right? A tenner, right? It was the last back-to-back 4-0 win.
Can he be the difference between us finishing 6th and winning the league?
He's definitely going to be the difference, mate. I can see him scoring 25 goals plus in the league. If Pogba keeps creating the chances for him, Martial keeps coming on. I really think Martial should be starting that game. Rashford missed that chance earlier on.
But Martial didn't start, comes on, gets another goal. Yeah, you think he's showing to Jose, look, start me?
He's showing Jose to start him, but you know what? I think that he should be starting the game more often.
It was 90 minutes, and what I love about United right now, towards 90 minutes, I feel like there's another goal coming. You still got that feeling that
Yeah!
What a difference. I was here 3 seasons ago when we lost 2-1 and I was distraught that we shouldn't be losing against a regional team.
For a long time I thought Swansea did well considering the difference in financial values between Manchester and Swansea.
Easy this Premier League.
Well, I know, look, comparing this to last year and we were like, we're doing both, we're scoring a lot and not conceding. There's something we couldn't do last year. We won't concede. We're only bagging 1 goal or weren't even bagging any. So bagging 8 goals in 2 games against the teams that we weren't scoring against, can't ask for much more, can you?
If you want to see more of those, head over to the YouTube channel and check those out from this weekend. How about that B-Tech Gaz at the end? It's like a Gaz tribute act, wasn't it? Unbelievable. Has anyone got the question right from Iyad. I see a couple of people in the comments here mentioning 1907. Correct, that was the last time that we managed to put exactly four goals back to back at the start of a season. However, that's not the only time that we've scored that many goals. Back in 2011, we scored 8 at home to Arsenal. I'm sure you all remember that one. And then 5 the following week, back to back. That was Arsenal and Bolton. And in fact, in that season, we also put 4 past Wolves and Villa, and we had a 4-4 draw with Everton. We put 5 past Wolves again. We had 5 past Wigan, 5 past Fulham, and 5 past Bolton. And it was also the season that City scored 6 against us. Goalkeeping was clearly optional that season, I think, for both teams. What season? Yeah, unbelievable. So, 1907 was the last time we did 4 goals back to back. That's incredible, isn't it? Phil Jones has never looked so assured, and if he stays away from injury, he'll be the first choice alongside Bailey. You see, that's the problem with Phil Jones, is he always comes in looking good like that and then gets injured. That is the problem with him. Super Al says, I want to see Lukaku and Ibra up front against a top team at least once. Do you really think that's likely to happen? I'd be very surprised if that happens. However, yeah, we could bully a team with that really badly, couldn't we? Are United playing today? Yes, they're playing at 7, and that is the under-23 side. Luke Shaw and Ashley Young should be featuring for Manchester United in that one. Can Everton win against City? I think they can, yeah. I think they can. Alexis Sanchez is the option. A couple of people mentioned Alexis Sanchez. It does seem like he's off, but to me, I think it's absolutely nailed on that he's going to City. So I'm not getting excited about that one. I do think he's going to City. I don't think he improves City that much, to be honest. City really need a good centre-half. And obviously they're looking at United Academy products, because spending $500 million on your own academy isn't enough to expect it to yield any players, is it? Clearly. If Lukaku gets injured, we don't have any replacement. All right, I guess Rashford, Marshall, Zlatan aren't adequate replacements for a striker. Oh, okay. January transfer window, we are getting Griezmann, says Marzouk. That's a bold statement. I don't know if I agree. I would like to think it. I actually think that we got the rumours of Lukaku and the rumours of Griezmann at the same time because we was looking to buy them together, not that we was looking to buy one or the other. I actually think that was how it was going to go down. Which makes me think that's why we was experimenting with 3-5-2 ourselves. But as Jose's already mentioned, we've not really got the right player at the club at the moment as a left wing back to be playing a 3-5-2. And that's where Luke Shaw, honestly, Luke Shaw has to take this opportunity at the moment. He can't waste another opportunity. He's had a long time out with that injury at the moment. He definitely needs to get back to full fitness, I think. To me, Lukaku is my best, and Pogba it's his time to shine, says Tarif. I think Pogba, yeah, definitely. People are going to start to regret some of the things that they said about Pogba last season. I thought he had a pretty good season. I don't think he was as bad as people was making out. It was just a meme, wasn't it? But like Jose Mourinho said, he's going to be an absolute bargain for us this season. Who do I think there should be any new transfers made? There's no obvious candidate to me. I think Danny Rose wouldn't have been a bad signing as that left option. But I definitely do think that Luke Shaw can reclaim that position. Why do I think 3-5-2 is a good formation, says Bron Breezy? Well, okay, so I think you get the best out of Lukaku by playing someone close to him. And you can't really have someone close to him when you play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, because the wide players are very wide and they're not close enough to him, I don't think, in terms of dragging the line. Sometimes Lukaku comes away from that line, and when you have a striker that comes away from the line, think of two types of strikers. You've got your striker that comes deep, and you've got your Hernandez-style striker who literally stands on the last man. And there's multiple reasons that standing on the last man is good. One, you can get through on any through balls. Hernandez obviously offside quite a lot, trying to get on those through balls. But what he also does is he also keeps the defence occupied. While he's taking the defence away, that creates space in between the midfield and the defence. When strikers start to drop in looking for the ball, sometimes out of frustration, Wayne Rooney used to do this a lot, it's actually quite easy to mark, and the defence can step up and start to constrict the space between defence and midfield, and that's not what you want. So when you play 2 up front, if you had Griezmann and Lukaku, Griezmann could drop and Lukaku can stay, or Lukaku can drop and then Griezmann would stay. And that's going to keep the defence away and keep them occupied and keep creating space in between the lines, as that's where you really find that you can do teams a little bit of damage. So I like 2 up front as an option for Manchester United, and that can be Lukaku and Mkhitaryan, I think, would create a great partnership. He loves ghosting in that number 9 spot and obviously works fantastic in between the lines. That could be Rashford and Lukaku. That could be Martial and Lukaku. There's options up there in terms of a 2-striker system. We get a best out of Paul Pogba in a midfield 3. Pogba, Matic and Herrera is an excellent midfield 3 that I stack up against any team in this league, no danger. And that's how you're going to get the best out of that midfield 3. And then I think using wing-backs, Tony Valencia on the right-hand side, he's made to be a wing-back. He's not really a defender. He's not quite a winger anymore. Wing-back is perfect for him. It's just that left-hand side is a big question mark over at the moment. And I think a 3-man defence, I think you're going to get the best out of Lindelof by playing him in a 3-man defence because he's got excellent distribution, if a little bit questionable positioning. And then you could have Bailly and Rojo or Bailly and Jones as forming a 3-man defence, and I think you get the best out of the Manchester United squad by playing it in a 3-5-2 if we can just fix that left-sided problem. But that left-sided problem isn't just a problem in 3-5-2, it's a problem in 4-3-3 as well. So I think that would be the formation that I would go to in the bigger games. I was a little bit disappointed it didn't work out for us against the likes of Real Madrid. I didn't like us playing 4-2-3-1 against City. Even though we won the game, there was times where I think it was Carrick and Herrera in midfield. As those two just wasn't enough men in midfield and defence. When they was attacking, there was gaps all over the place. And I think with a 3-5-2, you get the best of both worlds. And I thought it would really suit Mourinho. Doesn't seem to be suiting Mourinho. Mourinho meant to be going behind in a game. Yeah, I think he probably did mean going behind in a game rather than straight up losing. It's not 3 at the back, it's 5 at the back with wing backs. Well, it's interpretation, isn't it? The average position says it's 3 at the back because the wing backs push on and they have less responsibilities for defending. Full backs are defenders first, wing backs are options first, and they actually fill in the midfield more than anything. Herrera's not starting because of contract troubles, says Akil. Conspiracy theories on a full-time review. I'm not sure, but it would have happened. It has happened before, so who knows? What is my prediction for the match against Leicester? That is a whole week away, and we're talking about this weekend first, so we'll be on a preview for that one. We need to sign Dennis Irwin. I think he's probably a little bit old, but I like where you're going with that. We should sign a British left-back to help connect with Rashford, such as Danny Rose, or a French left-back, for example, to connect with Martial. Why? Why is the nationality so important? Look at the link that you've got with Pogba and Lukaku and Pogba and Lingard. You don't need nationalities as long as they get... Look at Bailly. Look at the way Bailly was taking the mickey out of Zlatan this weekend. It's not about nationalities. It's about whether they're on the same sort of personality. And I think that the squad has got a great personality in it at the moment. We don't need no Brexit in the United squad. Right, shall we go to United on YouTube and see what all the lads have got to say in there? Make sure you give all these lads a cheeky subscribe as well. Take it away.
All right, everyone. Glad to be sending my my videos back into Full-Time Devils again. I did not expect to be reviewing the second of 2 4-0 victories in the first 2 games of the season.
I'm absolutely ecstatic. Another 4-0 win. Last year, that would have probably been 1-1. Now that the team is full of absolute units, pace and power, we're just brushing teams aside.
Another 4-0 win for Manchester United this weekend. A fantastic start so far to the Premier League season. Not getting too carried away, but we're looking a lot more clinical this season.
The creative players are getting the mix and they're getting goals, they're getting assists, and it's looking really good.
And I'm trying my best at the moment not to get ahead of myself or go too over the top, but it bodes very, very well for Manchester United at the moment. We're doing exactly what we didn't do last season. Exactly what we didn't do.
8 goals in 2 games and 2 clean sheets. Ecstatic.
And it's a real positive to see that Paul Pogba and Martial have both got 2 goals apiece already this season, which is a bonus because Manchester United need more goals from them type of players this season.
We are doing really well from set pieces this time. Already 2 goals from 8 this time. So 25% of the goals coming from set pieces. That's really good.
Let's be honest. They're not the best opposition we've played so far this season. Today, particularly, pretty poor team, I would say. Swansea, coached by a good coach, good manager. But you know, it bodes very, very well for Manchester United at the moment.
Team's looking very good. The only thing I'd like to see change is Martial for Rashford, because I think Martial would bury them chances that Rashford misses. But apart from that, ecstatic.
Zlatan banged a fair few in last season himself. It was the rest of the squad that wasn't really chipping in enough. and they're starting to do that this season, which is really helping. Mkhitaryan also chipping in with a lot more assists this season, got 4 assists already, which is massive. I think he's going to be a massive player for Manchester United this season.
A lack of wing play. I mean, we are getting too narrow, too thin down the middle, and all our goals are coming from centre. So I feel Mourinho might have to address this situation sometime sooner rather than later, and that's why he was searching for the 4th player. So I hope we add that dimension as well to our game, and that can help us down the season.
We've bought well in the right areas, we've boosted the right areas. So it's looking good for Manchester United at the moment.
Why does Harves look like Sean Ryder? Call the cops. Harves is back with a new name, the Mank, looking super depressed there after we've just won 4-0. Not sure what all that one's about. Set pieces, excellent point. Yeah, we've scored goals from corners, we've scored goals from free kicks. We've not done that in recent years, so that's nice to see. We're scoring from counter-attacks, we're scoring from pressure in the opposition half. We are scoring a wide variety of goals inside the box, outside the box, so you've got to be happy with that, haven't you? I think some of the fluidity of our play is absolutely fantastic. Definitely agree with that. Dan mentions that Zlatan scores goals but didn't involve the rest of the team. This is the one thing that I knew Lukaku would bring to United. His movement forces defenders to follow him away. That drags defenders out of position and that leaves space open for others to go and exploit, and I think we've done that absolutely fantastically, and he's took his chances brilliantly, hasn't he, in a United shirt so far. Absolutely brilliantly. And Prayag at the end there says, United have been too narrow. Yes, I would definitely agree on that one. Rashford has a tendency to try and come inside a little bit, and the fullbacks, the wing-backs haven't really got beyond. I think that's definitely one of the points that we've got to pick up from this weekend. Despite scoring 4, there are things that we can work on and improve, because we are going to come up against better opposition where we're going to need to be better as well. And I think wing-backs getting forward and putting crosses in the box for Lukaku is definitely one of them. 4-4-2 against 3 at the back. Leicester were able to leave Arsenal exposed. Mourinho's not going to play 4-4-2. He will pack the midfield first before doing that. You've got more chance of him playing 3-5-2 with 3 at the back than 4-4-2, I think. Yeah, that will do it for this week. Thank you guys for joining us. We've got the podcast which you need to go and check out. Me and Webby did it this week, and we are back again this week. Let us know who you want to see for guests on that one. The Full-Time Devils podcast, getting loads of good reviews from everybody. If you've not seen it, go and check it out. It's something that we're doing in conjunction with XS Manchester. Go and check out the fan cams from this week if you've not seen them already, and go and give out all the lads that have just joined us from United on YouTube a follow. If you want to join in next week, then find out how in the description below. Again, thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully we'll be here next week and every week after a weekend match where we are winning 4-0. Are we going to win 4-0 this weekend? What do you guys reckon? I mean, I'm just happy that United are playing good football again. I'll take it as it comes. Every game, one game at a time. Thanks for joining us. See you in a bit.